The other day, one of my friends had sent me a text message saying he was listening to this really interesting radio program where they were saying that you should focus more on solutions and less on complaining. And he wanted me to talk about it. So shout out to my friend Mike V. Thank you so much for this idea. I think it is an important one. And I think you're seeing it a lot nowadays. We have a tendency to either complain about a situation rather than coming up with solutions. And I'm not saying that every situation can be fixed. I'm not saying that every situation doesn't necessarily need some form of complaining or some form of blame. But outside of those situations, a lot of times people just want to complain to be complainers. And while I'm not blaming anyone, what I do like to focus on is solutions, things that you can do to either fix a situation yourself or just make something better. And I think it's hard to do. For instance, one of the things, and a lot of people probably don't know this about me, so I'm 5 feet 8 inches tall, which is average height, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for the longest time, it bothered me tremendously. It was something I used to complain about to myself in my own mind, oddly enough, because I come from a family of people who are a lot taller than me. My dad's taller than me, my mom's taller than me, my brother's taller than me. A lot of relatives are taller than me, and it's something that always used to bother me. It's something I used to complain about to myself. And sometimes I'd complain to friends, oh man, I just wish I was taller. I just wish I was this. I wish I was that. And maybe in the moment it might make me feel a little bit better, but two things started to become very obvious to me over time. One, it didn't change the situation at all. And two, ultimately, it kind of reinforced those feelings of either inadequacy or displeasure, when in reality, what I should have been looking for was solutions. Why is it that I felt inadequate? Why is it that I tied so much importance to being taller? Was it because I wanted maybe to fit in more? Maybe because I wanted to be admired? When in reality, there was a lot of other things that I could have done to make the situation better for myself. I could have said, you know what, outside of my control, but there are other things I can control. I can make myself more learned. I can be kinder. I can be a better conversationalist. I can do a lot of other things to improve myself and not feel so inadequate because I'm not tall, something I didn't have control over. And while that might seem like a silly situation, I think we all suffer from it from time to time, whether it's something that we feel inadequate about ourselves, something that maybe we're feeling dissatisfied with our job, in relationships, just in the world in general. You know, you're seeing people who are unhappy either with the climate change, the government, inflation, whatever. You're seeing a lot of people who are unhappy, and I'm not saying that they don't have a right to be. But just because you're unhappy and you complain about it or post about it on social media, it doesn't mean you're coming up with a solution. And not all of them can be solved by you alone. But what I think is a good solution, and it's the advice I would give that I found a lot of power in, is two things. First, maybe write down what's bothering you, what you find to be an issue or something you want to complain about, your knee-jerk reaction. You know, was it because you didn't have enough time, you felt rushed, because you felt somebody didn't give you credit for something? Was it because maybe you feel you don't like the way you look? Write it all down and figure out what's something you can fix, what's something you can control, what's something you can alter, or what's something that you need to come to terms with. For instance, I'm never going to get taller. I'm not going to have plastic surgery to make myself 6 inches taller. That's never going to happen. Just is what it is. And you know what? I've gotten to the point now in my life where I'm happy with that. I'm happy with who I am and the height that I am. It's, you know, it took me a long time to get there, and it's a long road, but it's possible. The other solution that I heard, and this is something I heard on social media, I thought it was a really great tool, especially if you're either in a work situation or you're trying to build something or you're trying to improve yourself in some way, or it's something that's kind of a bigger task. And it was called the 1-3-1 rule. I don't know who coined it. I don't know who to give credit to. I heard it and I thought it was a great rule, something I've used myself. The 1-3-1 rule states 1 problem, 3 possible solutions, and then 1, what's your best course of action? Meaning, if a solution or if a problem arises, whatever that problem is, write it down and isolate it into that 1 problem. Is it that you need more followers? Is it that you need to get a brief done? Is it that you need to figure out the best course of action for your family, whether it's private school, public school, Catholic school, something like that. Second part is come up with 3 solutions, your 3 best solutions. You know what? I think the best thing to do would be to invest into the S&P 500, or to invest into a mutual fund, or to invest into annuity. Those are 3 options. And then you come up with your best solution that you're going to take action on. I'm going to read this book. I'm going to take this course, and then do it. Because obviously thought alone, not enough. But thought plus action makes change. And that's really where I think that we as a society, we as people, if you focus more on solutions, you try to help, you try to better yourself, better your situation, better your common people, overall, I think the world would be a better place. Maybe people would be a little less scared and a little more optimistic. Something I think we certainly need more of in the world. So be the change that you want to see and find some solutions to your everyday problems. Those little changes add up in a huge way, not only for yourself, but your family, your community, and ultimately the world.